Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I will make a statement on the situation in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories. Mr. Speaker, I know that the whole House will join me in condemning the horrific murder of Lucy Maya and Rena D by a terrorist just over a week ago, and in offering our deepest condolences to Rabbi Leo D and the rest of the family in their pain and grief. My colleague, the noble Lord Ahmed, joined Lucy D's family in London to sit Shiva, the Jewish mourning period, recently. I paid tribute to the extraordinary and noble decision taken by the D family to donate Lucy's organs, saving 5 lives so far, and possibly more. This act of compassion and generosity in a moment of tragedy stands in vivid contrast to the senseless and abhorrent violence that robbed a family of its mother and 2 sisters. The United Kingdom unequivocally condemns this act of terrorism. My right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, spoke to the Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen on the Friday shortly after Maya and Rena had been murdered to offer our sympathy and to coordinate our response. We also condemn the second act of terrorism against Israel on Good Friday, when a car rammed into civilians in Tel Aviv, killing an Italian citizen and injuring many others, including some British nationals. These callous acts, Mr. Speaker, are more examples of the attacks that have plagued the lives of ordinary Israelis and Palestinians for too long. As the British government has made clear, the UK remains steadfast in its commitment to work with the Israeli authorities, the Palestinian authorities, and all parties in the region and in the international community to bring an end to the terrorism that Israel faces and to the destructive violence we continue to witness. The people of Israel deserve to live free from the scourge of terrorism and anti-Semitic incitement, which gravely undermine the prospects for a 2-state solution. The UK strongly condemns the numerous terrorist attacks on Israeli civilians this year, including the killing of 7 Israelis on Holocaust Memorial Day. In recent months, Israel has also faced indiscriminate rocket, missile and drone attacks from groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza, and from hostile groups in Lebanon and Syria, unjustifiably and unlawfully threatening the lives of civilians. Israel must also contend with appalling rhetoric from Iran and others calling for an end to its very existence. This underlines the threats that Israel faces every day, and the UK will never waver from supporting Israel's legitimate right to self-defence. But our support for Israel is not confined to its defence and security, Mr. Speaker. I would also like to inform the House that on the 21st of February, the Foreign Secretary signed the 2030 roadmap for UK-Israel bilateral relations alongside his Israeli counterpart, Eli Cohen. The UK is proud of its deep and historic relationship with the State of Israel. Both countries are committed to a modern, innovative and forward-looking relationship focusing on shared priorities for mutual benefit. This roadmap is the product of detailed negotiations to deepen and expand our cooperation up to 2030, following the elevation of our relationship to a strategic partnership in 2021. It provides detailed commitments for deepening UK-Israel cooperation, including in trade, cyber, science and tech, research and development, security, health, climate and gender. The roadmap also demonstrates the seriousness with which we take the global problem of anti-Semitism. The UK is proud of being the first government to adopt the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's working definition. There is no better tool to define how anti-Semitism manifests itself in the 21st century. Mr. Speaker, I would like to turn now to the alarming violence we are seeing across Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories. The conflict is exacting an ever greater human toll. The numbers of Palestinians killed by the Israeli security forces in the West Bank, including 15-year-old Mohammed Nidal, and Israelis killed in acts of terrorism, including Lucy, Maya and Rena D, is significantly higher than at this point in 2022. In this regard, we call on the Palestinian Authority to denounce incitement to violence and resume its security cooperation with the Israeli authorities. And we say to the Israeli government that while Israel has a legitimate right to defend its citizens from attack, the Israeli security forces must live up to their obligations under international humanitarian law. In this situation, it is all too easy for actions by one side to escalate tensions. The raid, Mr. Speaker, on Al-Aqsa Mosque by Israeli police during Ramadan and on the first day of Passover was one such instance. When Israeli security forces conduct operations, they must ensure they are proportionate and in accordance with international law. The anger that arose across the region and beyond from the police's action in Al-Aqsa underlines the necessity of respecting and protecting the sanctity of Jerusalem's holy sites, especially when we have seen Ramadan, Passover and Easter overlap, as they have done this year. It's vital that all parties respect the historic status quo arrangements in Jerusalem, which allow coexistence between faiths. I welcome Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent announcement on de-escalating tensions. We value Jordan's important role as custodian of the holy sites in Jerusalem, and I pay tribute to the Jordanian authorities for protecting the safety and security of the holy sites and all who worship and visit there. I want to restate clearly, Mr. Speaker, the position of the British government. We support a negotiated settlement leading to a safe and secure Israel living alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state based on the 1967 lines with agreed land swaps. Jerusalem as the shared capital of both states and a just, fair, agreed and realistic settlement for refugees. And to be clear, the UK-Israel roadmap agreement I have already mentioned in no way alters our position on the Middle East peace process. A two-state solution offers the best prospects of achieving sustainable peace. We do not underestimate the challenges, but firmly believe that if both parties show bold leadership, peace is possible. The Israelis and the Palestinians, Mr. Speaker, showed leadership recently when their representatives met in Aqaba and Sharm el-Sheikh to discuss ways to de-escalate. These talks, the first of their kind for many years, were a positive and welcome step. The UK is working with both sides and our international partners to support this process and uphold the commitments that were made. Mr. Speaker, the UK continues to be a strong supporter of all efforts to promote peace in the Middle East and a lasting sustainable agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, and we will work with all parties to progress that goal. I commend this statement to the House.
Shadow Minister Bambos Charalopoulos.
Thank you, Mr.